Adapting to life with disability is never easy. You may wonder how you'll be able to work, or even be happy again. While you can't go back to a healthier you or wish away your limitations, you can change the way you think about and cope up with your disability. Read the true inspiring story of Arunima Sinha, who is an epitome of grit and determination. A story of hope and resilience in the face of challenges. She was a national football and volleyball player. Unfortunately, she met with a major accident which led to the Arunima Sinha amputation of one of her legs. Despite her disability, she took a vow to scale the highest point in the world, Mount Everest. In 2013 she did just that, becoming the first Indian female amputee to achieve this feat. Arunima Sinha hails from Ambedkar Nagar, a small district in Uttar Pradesh 200 kilometers away from Lucknow. Her father was an engineer in the army and her mother, a health supervisor in a government primary health center. When Arunima was 3 years old, her father passed away. From a young age, Arunima was passionate about sports and athletics. She represented her school in football and later in college at national level volleyball. She decided to get a job in the paramilitary forces so that she could carry on with her daily life. Despite mange attempts, she couldn't get through. On 11th April 2011, Arunima applied for a head constable's post in the Central Industrial Security Force, CISF. She received a call letter in which she noticed that her date of birth mentioned in it was wrong. So she decided to leave for Delhi immediately to get it rectified. Arunima boarded the Padmavati Express train on 12 April 2011, which was leaving from Lucknow to Delhi. She boarded the general compartment. At around 1 a.m. some burglars in the train attempted to snatch her gold chain. She tried to resist them. She kicked, punched and fought as best as she could. Being a lonely girl, she could not resist them for long. The compartment was full of people, but no one came to the rescue of a girl being robbed and attacked. At last the robbers threw her out of the running train. She struck against an upcoming train and its pushing force threw her onto the opposite tracks. Unfortunately, another train was running in the next track and she collided against it. After a while, when she tried to get up, she noticed that one of her legs was lost and blood was oozing out. Her other leg too was severely fractured and her spine was badly injured. She screamed all night for help but to no avail. Around 49 trains passed by her that night. The rodents started chewing on her injured leg. Next morning, some locals noticed her and they admitted her to Bareilly District Hospital in UP, where the incident had taken place. Some amount of anesthesia and a lot of blood was needed to treat her. The hospital had none of these. Laying in a hospital bed with feeble consciousness, she overheard her doctors discussing this issue. Her request to the doctors paints a clear picture of her tenacious mental strength. She said, "Treat me without the anesthesia. I know whatever you do now would be for my betterment." Then the doctor and the pharmacist donated 1 unit of blood each to save her life. Her limb was sawed off without anesthesia while she was fully conscious. The doctor also infused a rod in her other leg and treated her spine where she had multiple injuries. While she was fighting for her life, some episodes during the investigation of her case changed her perception towards life. The investigation officers claimed that Arunima was either traveling without a ticket and had jumped from the running train to avoid embarrassment and punishment, or wanted to commit suicide. This was a moment which hit her very hard and sowed the seeds to fight back. But she took every criticism positively. On 18th April 2011, Arunima was transferred to All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS, for further treatment. She was treated in that hospital for 4 months. She was provided a prosthetic leg free of cost by a private Delhi-based Indian company. Arunima never wanted people to see her in sympathy and feel pity because of her prosthetic leg. She was tired of explaining to people that she didn't attempt suicide. She tried to convince people but mostly failed. Whenever she saw her missing leg, she used to think that she will never let it be her weakness. Then she decided to answer people with actions, not words. She was lying on the hospital bed and decided to do the unthinkable. Resuming volleyball was an easier challenge. She wanted to show the world what she was capable of. She chose the hardest game, mountaineering. Once she watched a documentary on mountaineering. It mentioned that there are 15 routes that connect to the Everest. Out of those 15, 14 had been targeted by mountaineers and one route was yet to be followed. She told about this route number 15 and her desire to conquer it to her brother-in-law. He said, "No one in the world has climbed the peak with prosthetic leg. If you have determination, you can achieve it." These words lit a spark in Arunima and she decided to climb Asia's highest peak, Mount Everest. She was also inspired by the famous cricketer Yuvraj Singh's fight against cancer. Arunima's brother-in-law suggested to her that she seek the guidance and training from Madam Bachendri Pal, first Indian woman to climb Mount Everest in 1984. Pal heads the Tata Steel Adventure Foundation Company. As soon as she was discharged from the hospital, Arunima headed for Jamshedpur to meet Madam Bachendri Pal. When she told about her goal to Madam Bachendri Pal, she was in tears and said, "Arunima, in this condition you made such a huge decision. Know that you have already conquered your inner Everest. Now you have to climb the mountain only to show the world what you are made of." Arunima expressed her desire to train under Pal to be able to conquer Metricton, Everest, which is the highest peak in the world measuring the height of 8,848 meters. She started training under Pal. As the first step, Arunima decided to enroll herself in the introductory mountaineering course offered by Nehru Institute of Mountaineering and Tata Steel Adventure Foundation Company in Uttarkashi, India. After completing the basic course, she took 18 months of rigorous training. Before starting the summit, she had climbed smaller peaks surrounding Everest including Island Peak, 6,150 meters. She did this to acclimatize her body. She had a couple of near-death experiences and underwent mind-numbing, spirit-crushing pain. She supported herself with a grant from an IM. Then Tata Steel provided her with a generous sponsorship because of which she could focus exclusively on the impossible task that lay ahead. In less than 2 years, Arunima was ready to conquer her quest for Everest expedition. No Everest campaign can be undertaken without a Sherpa, the locals who act as guides for the expedition. Arunima started her expedition on 1st April 2013. Her first feat on the way to the summit caused severe injury. As she reached the base camp, she lost her balance and fell to the ground, injuring herself. Arunima's prosthetic limb posed some unique problems. Sometimes blood used to come out of the stitches. The ankle and heel would constantly swivel as she tried to climb, causing her to often lose her grip. Her right leg was held together by a steel rod. Any pressure sent up. Spasms of acute intense pain. Her Sherpa refused to accompany her, saying that she was on a suicide mission. Every climber has to traverse 4 camps en route to the peak, and upon reaching 4, there is 3,500 feet to the summit. This area is known as the death zone, notorious for the number of lives it has claimed. It is a dangerous part of the mountain. It is 800 meters above sea level and the terrain here is difficult. There are sharp ridges and deep crevasses on either side. Devil the track, and one wrong step means certain death. She saw heaps of dead bodies of mountaineers scattered all around. She even noticed a Bangladesh citizen waving his hand for help. She noticed him to die after a few minutes due to lack of oxygen. She felt fearful, but even then, she was determined to mount. "They died doing the same thing I am going to do," said Arunima. And that's when she decided that she would complete this summit for all those dead souls. When Arunima reached the Hillary step close to the south summit, her Sherpa gave a huge shock. "Arunima, turn back, your oxygen is depleting fast. Please return to the base camp." Right after Hillary step is the Everest summit, just a little climb. Imagine being so close to your target, and someone tells you to turn back. Arunima said, "What are you saying? I won't go back." She tried to convince Sherpa, "Brother, please come, nothing will happen." Finally, when Sherpa did not budge, she took the decision to go forward without fail. 2 hours later at 10:55 am on 21st May 2013, finally Arunima reached the summit of Mount Everest. She erected the Indian flag on 21st May 2013 as part of the Tata Group-sponsored Eco Everest expedition, becoming the first female amputee to scale Everest. She took 2 days to reach the summit. She screamed with a great joy and said, "I wanted to tell everyone that I'm on top of the world, especially to those people who thought a woman and an amputee couldn't do it." She wrote a small message thanking the Almighty on a wrapped cloth and pressed it in the snow. She kept some pictures of her idol, Swami Vivekananda, next to the flag. Before her oxygen could get over, she took pictures and videos of herself on the peak. She was going to die. So it was important that the visual proofs of her achievement make it down to the world. As Arunima began her descent, her oxygen supply was dwindling fast. Few hours later, the inevitable happened. Arunima's oxygen supply finished. Her body, already crushed with fatigue, completely gave up. Her legs wobbled and she fell down. And then something unexpected happened. She found an oxygen cylinder which was disposed of by a British climber who had another oxygen cylinder. Her Sherpa quickly latched it on her. The moment Arunima inhaled fresh oxygen, her entire body felt rejuvenated and she began her descent. Far more deaths occur on the downward climbs than the upward ones on the Everest. But Arunima survived to tell her tale. Congratulating Arunima on her achievement, Bachendri Pal said, "It's a moment of pride for the whole nation." The spirit, the mental strength and willpower displayed by Arunima have been exemplary. She had defied all odds and will be an inspiration for millions throughout the world. Arunima's aim was to climb the highest peaks from each continent around the world. She already has completed 7 peaks. By conquering all the 7 summits, she wants to prove that physical disability can never be a hindrance in achieving life's goal, if one has mental strength, strong willpower and firm determination. In 2015, the Government of India honoured her with the Padma Shri Award, the 4th Civilian Award of India, and was awarded Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Award in 2015. She also was awarded the First Lady Award in 2016, Malala Award, Yash Bharti Award, Rani Lakshmi Bai Award, etc. She wrote her autobiography, Born Again on the Mountain, a story of losing everything and finding it back. Arunima has achieved her goal and she wants to help physically challenged people to achieve their goals so that they can also become self-dependent and nobody looks at them with pity. She runs a non-profit school, Shahid Chandrasekhar Azad Viklang Khel Academy. Arunima proved to the world that a strong willpower and determination can overcome even the most difficult obstacle, and mental strength far exceeds the strength of the body. Thus, Arunima turned her weaknesses into her greatest strengths.